Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm glad to be here. As Jared said, my name is Derrick Broze. I'm from Houston. I'm an activist out there. I started a group 2 years ago, about 2.5 years ago, called Houston Freethinkers. About a year after I started to wake up and started looking into 9/11, fluoride, and all kinds of other things, and really want to get involved. And I decided to start this group. I work with We Are Change groups around the country, around the world. Mainly my purpose is trying to raise awareness and build community, which is kind of what I'm going to talk about today. And really, there's many ways that we can look at 9/11 and those attacks that happened 11 years ago this day. We were all out there. This morning we've been in the streets, we've been seeing the effects of 9/11. In 11 years this subject's been researched and dissected extensively. We all know there's many levels to this. We've got the health problems of the first responders and the lies of the EPA. Of course, the failed policies and the lies of the Bush administration. The family members who question the official story. The laws of physics are also on our side, as well as many differing reports from those who were actually present on 9/11. And of course, the collapse of Building 7. So with all this evidence and more, there's a variety of theories that have been put forth over the past 11 years with all this evidence, and some of these theories, of course, conflict with each other. And first, what I want to say, though, as far as all these different theories that we have available, that if we're truly seeking truth, we need to follow it no matter where it goes, and not be afraid to ask questions and to look into theories that may be different than what we even expect. I'd say within this room there's a lot of open minds. Some of us, we've opened our minds where we consider all kinds of crazy things, whether or not we believe them. And I think that's what we need to do. We need to be willing to look into anything. So, with that said, there is still, some would say, division within this movement because of the many theories, because of the disinformation and things like that. It's important for us to always be on our guard. But when we're always on our guard, if we're mistrusting each other, who's truly winning there if we're all divided? We need to look into that. Despite the apparent division, though, over these theories, we're actually more united than we may realize. Every single one of us here, no matter what we ascribe to, if we think we know exactly what happened, or we study the finances, or the physics, whatever it is, we are all more united. What is it that unites us? We know that their story is bullshit.
Yeah. That's right.
But we can turn these lies into something powerful. We can use this as an example of the many crimes of the state. 9/11, as we all know, is just one of many military operations, many false flag events, and that we're still researching. Friends of ours, James Lane, they've done an awesome film, A Noble Lie, dissecting the Oklahoma City bombing. We've heard presentations on the 1993 World Trade Center bombs. That these things have happened through history. And as many of us also know, this system is going to collapse. This system is on the way. The people in power are crashing the system purposely. 9/11 ties into that. 9/11 allowed them to accelerate their game, their end game, their plan, however you want to put it. And so we can either accept that and start looking for alternatives, or we can wait for FEMA. We can start creating alternatives now, or we can wait to be whisked away to Camp FEMA. And personally in Houston, with what we've done in Houston Freethinkers, I'd just like to offer you guys a little bit of example of what we're doing out there, because I think that as a community of activists, we're here from all around the country and all around the world. It means that you care enough to be here. And though our numbers may have shrank, and people talk of years prior how big things were, it's still important that we are here, because for every one of us who is here, there's people back at home, wherever we're from, that are watching this and are paying attention to this, and they need this. They need to know that the movement's not alive. So, I hope that we all here collectively, for one, can promise and make whatever we can to keep each other coming, to keep coming year after year, to keep doing these things, because it's important for one. It's important for us to fight on all fronts. So it's important for us to be out here on the streets and to do this stuff. It's important for us to dissect the videos and to do that research. It's also important for us to build community, because we have a community here. We may not agree on everything. We may not even outside of 9/11 have anything in common, but we can come together and we can seek that. We're trying to find the answers for those 3,000 people who died. And that's what's really important. It's about them. It's not about our egos and who thinks who's right and who wants to do, whatever it is that we allow ourselves to be divided by. But back to solutions and community. In Houston, I started this group 2.5 years ago, and it was, like I said, it was as a result of me waking up and being scared out of my mind and needing to know that there were other people. So I started a blog, and I did that for a few months, but then just things kept happening, and I was like, wow, this stuff happens all the time. They're just arresting people, they're doing all these things, and I thought it was moving too fast, and I needed to do more than just have a blog. I needed to do more than just write. That was important, but I needed to find other people, so I started having meetings in my house, just to friends who I know who were awake, and then just throwing it out there and starting to go out and pass out flyers and get over being afraid to talk to people like many of us have chosen and had to get over, because we know that this information is more important than our insecurities and our doubts. It's more important than that. We have people that we need to do this stuff for. So I started doing that, and in two and a half years, we've been on every news station in the city. As some of you guys know, I've been on Alex Jones' show a few times. Whatever you feel about it, we're getting information out. We've built a community garden that is open for anybody in Houston to come. We're growing all non-GMO organic vegetables. We have a house where we offer free Wi-Fi. We have a community library where we hold film screens. We do free Skillshare classes ranging from Spanish to knot tying to intro to brewing to social network security to just different practical things. And the idea is that we're trying to, for one, offer a place that people within the community who know what's going on, whether or not they agree 100% on what the Houston Freethinker stands for, which touches on everything that you guys know, 9/11, police state, all that stuff, and more mundane things like just dealing with our city council and stuff like that. So no matter what the people of Houston, the people who come in contact with us, believe about certain aspects, those guys are truthers, but I've seen them out there feeding the homeless. I've seen them out there raising money for Food Not Bombs or for different organizations. We do benefit shows every 3 weeks to raise money for different causes and for different groups. And so no matter what, when we had an incident that happened to us back in January, we had one of our big free shows. It was called For the Community. This is actually the first reason I came on Alex Jones' show, because of this incident. Some of you guys may have seen this video. The police came to our free event and pulled a shotgun out. They essentially came on the property, dragged me out to the streets, without telling me anything. We got the whole thing on film, and they shoved me in the car while my friends were out here expressing their First Amendment, upset that these cops had just came onto private property and kidnapped one of their friends. Micah, my friend, was just getting everybody listening, telling them they don't care about authority. All they care about is, they don't care about your freedom. All they care about is their authority, their power. And while he was doing this, he was grabbed, thrown onto the cop car that I was sitting in, and the cop turned around and pulled a shotgun on a group of about 100 unarmed people and pointed at him and said, "Get back now." And actually, when he came up to grab Micah, you can hear him in the video say, "Your freedom ends tonight." So, we had that incident, which came out of something we were trying to do for the community. Well, once I got out of jail, I was arrested for failure to obey a lawful order. I've never told what that order was. I just sat the night in jail, got out, and we got our videos together. We put a press release out and sent it to over 300 media outlets. Within 24 hours, we were interviewed by every news station. The HPD was forced to make a statement, and they had to do an investigation about it. Of course, they're not going to punish their own people, but my point is, when that incident went down, our community was there for us. When the newspapers put out articles calling us a local group of conspiracy theorists, people were there to defend us. And that is why it's important for us to reach out and to network with the community. Because for one, it's important for us to do this inner work. It's time for us to start, as Les was talking about earlier, start raising our consciousness, and not to get into anything new age, just in general, raising our awareness the same way we've opened our minds to 9/11. We need to start working on ourselves as individuals because of the system and, environment and all the different insecurities and things that we're dealing with. I know that there's a lot of us who have things that we need to work on inside, and this is a little bit outside of activism, but as far as I'm concerned, it's one and the same. We can have all the information and all the knowledge in the world, but if we're still fucked up inside and we're all running around screwed up, we're not going to be able to help anybody. But once we start really building a community and start working on ourselves and getting these ideas out and trying to network with people who maybe we think are outside of our box and stop being afraid of, oh, this guy's occupied that, or he's whatever it may be. In Houston, we find common ground with so many people over different issues, and as I said, they may not agree with us on the 9/11 truth, but they can come with us on a police brutality rally or something like that. And so then, whenever we get in trouble, the community is there for us, and we can be there for them as well. So, I just want to say that's what I'm working towards. Everybody has a different style and a different approach. I want us to build this network. We have to build this network. The future is here. 1984 is here. We know they're working on taking away the internet, and things like this. As it gets harder and more expensive for us to live, it's going to be less likely that we can visit and see each other all the time. Think about this in a realistic way, that if you have less money and you can only afford to keep yourself alive, we're not going to be able to come together like this all the time. But it's important for us to keep communicating and letting each other know what works and what doesn't. Share ideas. So that's why I'm offering the ideas today of what's worked in Houston, so you can take them back to where you work and see if they work. Maybe you come up with a better model that we haven't thought of. The point is, it's time for us to truly come together as a family and as a community of people, as human beings, who want to be alive and want to live and want to be free and not have to worry about all this police state shit and lies, and thinking about 3,000 people that have died in the name of a lie, and people that run around blindly supporting it, you know. We gotta be there for them. And I appreciate everybody being here, because it's important that we all know that every single flyer we pass out on the street, it makes a difference. Every radio show broadcast that we're doing, every Ustream, all the different things that we're doing to become the new media, to replace the system that has held us down for so long, they're important. Every event like this, just communicating ideas of 9/11, it's important. Every film screening, they all have an effect. Every conversation you have on the street with somebody about 9/11, about the police state, about everything that's going on, is an act of revolution against this system. It's important for us to have that community aspect, and like I said, that can only go so far. We have to begin to work on our issues and encourage the same in each other. And you know, I think that's difficult work for some of us, you know. We've all got egos, we got insecurities, we've got things coming from different places, we're all coming from different backgrounds, but if we truly want to create a free, you know, humanity beyond 9/11, but beyond all these issues, we got to start to work on this, because this is not just a revolution in the streets. As many of you guys know, this is a revolution of hearts and minds. So I appreciate you guys listening to me today. If you care about what I talk about, check out HoustonFreethinkers.com, theconsciousresistance.com. Go out to your community, start a revolution.